Hi, Zoe. Thank you so much for having me this morning. Really excited to share my story. My name is Julia Makin. I'm a digital marketing superhero that runs a digital marketing agency called Me, as well as a online e-course platform where we do a 10-week digital marketing superhero course. So my philosophy is that I'm here to save the day when it comes to websites, social media, SEO, anything really digital or marketing related. I believe that businesses, owners should do what they do best and then have someone else like myself or another agency or whatever helping them to become the best sort of marketers, market leaders in the industry and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people get into business doing what they love to do, like making stuff, and then the marketing side is just too big.
Yeah,
Too
yeah,
much.
yeah, and it's not hard to learn, and I'm more than happy for business owners to do it themselves, but they need to learn the principles. It's like when I started with my business, I'm not good with bookkeeping, not good with accounting, etc. I knew early on that I needed to get that outsourced because it would take me, like say an hour to do one invoice, whereas it would take a bookkeeper to do, to do it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think business owners forget that their time is worth something. We want to do everything, but you need to do what you can do best and do the right things. Because if I'm spending an hour doing an invoicing, I'm not doing work for a client. I'm not doing business development. So that's what I try to explain to business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a bit about your story of how you started your business, but I think it's a very interesting story. So what ignited the spark?
So what ignited the spark was a previous employer who was the biggest, and I'll get G-rated, biggest jerk I've ever met in my life. Short man complex. Nothing wrong against short people, but biggest short man complex. Was a real bully, not necessarily to me, but to other staff members. Thought he knew everything, thought he was superior. I wouldn't say anti-women, but definitely, would talk about how women have emotional issues and can't run businesses and this and that, and just a very low morale working environment. The industry that they're in is quite cutthroat, and he knew that if that the staff needed the job more than he probably needed them. So he used that power, I guess, to be the way it was. I didn't like the way he treated staff, and I would often, retaliate by wearing really high heels, all that sort of stuff I knew would annoy him. And he would constantly tell me, how lucky I was to have this job. Being a female, you wouldn't be able to run a business, you're too emotional, you're too this, you're too that. And what he didn't realise is when someone tells me I can't do something, I do the opposite. I will go out of my way to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And I'd always in the back of my mind thought, I'm gonna run a business. I knew I was going to. I'm stubborn and independent and so forth. And then he kind of gave me the spark to go, I either do it now or I don't do it. So I left, and it was the best, I've told you before, the best resignation letter I've ever written. Like, I wish I'd kept it because it was brilliant. And, from there was able to grow the business. And for me, I was really lucky that as soon as I decided to run the business, literally, not within 24 hours, people started asking me and going, can you help us with this website? Can you do this? Can you do that? So it was quite an organic progression. It's definitely hard. I underestimated how hard it would be. But last year when a UK-based publication asked me to write not just a chapter, but the opening chapter for a book that they were working on about how to run a business, I obviously threw my hand up, freaked out about it, and did it. But I was glad I did it, and then sent him a copy, signed it, and said, I thought this might help you with your business.
Oh my God, that's so good.
I'm cheeky, can't tell. So.
Where do you stand on the work-life balance?
In all honesty, it's the hardest thing to get right. I feel constant guilt when, like last week, I had off because of my birthday and we went away and saw pandas at the zoo and stuff. It was brilliant. But I feel constant guilt if I'm not working. If I am working, then you feel guilt because you should be spending time with friends, family, etc. How I've dealt with it is I've explained to my husband, my friends, and whatever that my business is my baby. My business is the thing that makes me so happy and inspired and excited about life. And so there are times when I'm going to get carried away. You won't see me for 3 weeks. but it's something that I need to do. A lot of my self-worth is tied in with my business, which I think is a lot of like what happens with other business owners. So I get sad if I don't get a client job, and I think, oh, what did I do? What did I do wrong, etc., etc. But I have learned now that I'm the ripe old age of 30, I guess letting go a bit, making sure that husband feels his priority, making sure my friends feel that they're a priority, and so forth, and doing to-do lists. I like to think that I can do probably 2 days worth of work in one day. I feel like, that Energizer bunny sometimes. And I've found that writing down a to-do list first thing in the morning makes me realise how unachievable some of the stuff was that I wanted to get done. I had a client, her name's Cara, who just said to me that, it's your business, you need to run it your way. She said, like for her, she'll block it a whole Monday, for example, and not work those days. So I've started to kind of do that to get that work-life balance because, I have crashed before and it's not a great feeling.
Yeah, burnout is massive.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it can be crippling sometimes.
Yeah.
On that kind of guilt, that's another thing I think a lot of people feel. You wrote a blog post last year. You kind of spoke about that guilt and anxiety and that. I would love to know your thoughts on, and maybe also how it's changed since, because that was about 6 months ago, about how you kind of conquer those moments, those stifling moments of doubt.
Yeah. That blog post, I was so blown away by the amount of feedback and interest and the amount of people who came and told me they felt the same way. Because I've always felt like a round peg in a square hole, which I know can freak people out because, like, oh, you can talk to anyone. And for so long, I was so unhappy with who I'd become, how I was, how I felt, how I looked, and I needed to... being an extrovert, I overanalyze stuff, and I needed to write it down to really articulate what I was not happy about myself. As a business owner, you need to realise that a lot of what goes wrong or goes right is your doing, and I needed to really articulate and get it down in paper because 2016 was a really, really tough year, emotionally, physically, mentally, etc. Did suffer from burnout and so forth. And I realised that the direction that I was going in wasn't the direction that was going to make me happy. I've always been that, you get to this level, then you want to go here, and then you want to go there, and so forth. And I realised that the point of running the business was to help business owners succeed with their marketing. But I'd lost that. I'd lost that essence. I thought, okay, I've got this size client, now I want the next client.
Yeah.
And I started to become someone that I didn't like. So... that post, putting it out there, eating a lot of ice cream, chocolate, crying over it, whatever, really helped me realise what was important. And the one thing that I realised that I didn't do was I did not put enough effort or emphasis onto physical health. So, I would be working from, say, 12, 14-hour day and not leave the house.
Yeah.
And if I did go outside, it was like I was a mole seeing the sunlight for the first time. And it started to make me feel a bit bitter. And I realised that a business owner like you, Richard Branson and so forth, why they look like they have it all is because they prioritise their physical health. So I read somewhere that Richard Branson, doesn't matter what time he goes to bed, he'll be up at 5 every morning going for walks, etc. and so forth. So I went back to playing sport. So I play... about 4 games of basketball a week, and that's my 40 minutes of just me not thinking about anything else, getting my, aggression out, my anger, hurt, etc. And that has really worked well for me. And I really, really, like for you, I admire how you're doing your runs and you're putting your physical health first. I'm never going to be a stick, and I don't want to be a stick. I'm happy being curvy, but I knew that what I was doing was not making me healthy or happy, both mentally and physically. So definitely physical exercise of, just even going to a letterbox and getting out and coming back is really important.
Yeah. No, it's definitely all related. Like your exercise, nutrition, your mental health, and then your business as well.
Yeah.
But I've also been finding my runs to be almost like meditative. Because I'm just like, oh my God, I want to die. Like, I want to stop running. That's all I'm thinking about. So it's
Yeah.
really switching
That's
off.
the one thing with basketball is exactly the same for me. It's this weird sort of like meditative moment where you don't have a care in the world besides that goal of running around and being in the moment. And I'm never really in the moment. I'm always thinking 2 steps, 3 steps ahead, and it gets exhausting.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, we're almost out of time, but I will let you get in your favourite quote. I've heard it a couple of times now. But
and you'll hear it another couple of times too.
Yeah, I'm sure
Thank you. As you can see in the background, my big picture at the back is of Michael Hutchins. Michael Hutchins and INXS are my all-time favourite band. Aussie underdogs that took over the world, have had tragedy, have tried to come, all those sort of things. I hope to one day be able to meet Chris Murphy, Andrew Farris, and so forth. I would totally lose myself if I did. But I am constantly inspired by their music. And the one song in particular that really, really inspires me is Never Chose Part. There's this line in here, in that song, where it says, we all have wings, but some of us don't know why. And I think it's so true. Like, you know, I talk to a client, I'll talk to some random on the train because I'm that type of person. I talk to friends or whatever. And I'm really good at always being able to pick out what's great about them, but they don't see it themselves. And I'm sure I do the same thing myself. I don't see what's my great benefits and features are, whether that's physically or mentally or whatever. And that song reminds me that we all have potential. And that, you know, we need to go out and seize the day. So whenever I'm feeling down, happy, or basically any moment in time, I will listen to Never Chose Part by INXS just to get me that buzz back. I don't drink coffee, so INXS, I guess, is my coffee.
Oh, I love it. So where can people find you?
People can find me at www.venttome.com.au. That's with the number 2. Or you can find me at www.digital/marketing/courses.com. I'm happy to provide business owners free 30-minute business tune-up session, which I can send you the link to, Zoe. Basically, in this session, we talk about what your marketing gripes are, and we put together a sort of a strategy and recommendations as to what you need to do, how you can do it, and how to roll it out. And sometimes it's good, I know for myself, just talking to someone who's a bit removed from your business, because there might be something that's really frustrating you that you can't see the answer. And I find through these business tune-up sessions, you kind of get that light bulb moment. And there's nothing more exciting than seeing someone just get that spark and go, okay, I'm going to do it now. I get it now.
Yeah, awesome. Good. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for doing it again.
All right.